All right, let's get right into it. We're about to unpack a story that starts deep inside your cells, but actually stretches back millions and millions of years. It's a story of you, your family, and really every living thing that has ever existed.
You've probably heard it a million times, right? At a family gathering, someone says, "Wow, you have your mom's eyes," or "That's your dad's nose for sure." Well, guess what? That's not just a coincidence. It's actually a really powerful biological process at play, and it has a name: heredity.
So, what is heredity? Put simply, it's the way traits get passed down from parents to their kids, from one generation to the very next. Think of it like this. Just like a family name gets passed on, so do things like eye color or your height. It's the science behind why you see your family staring back at you in the mirror.
Okay, so how does this all work? I mean, what's the actual mechanism behind it? To figure that out, we have to zoom in. Way in, right down to the microscopic level, deep inside our cells.
Believe it or not, this whole massive story starts with a single tiny molecule. It's this thread-like thing tucked away inside your cells, and it's so important that it basically calls the shots on almost everything about you.
You can think of this molecule as your own personal instruction manual. Seriously. Every single detail, from the color of your hair to your blood type, it's all written down in its code.
And that amazing molecule is, you've probably guessed it, DNA. You get half of it from your mom and the other half from your dad. So when people say you've inherited your traits, what's really happening is that the DNA instructions for those traits have been passed down directly to you.
All right, so we've got the blueprint, the DNA, but what about the building itself? How does this genetic code actually turn into the physical things we can see, like our height or our nose shape?
Well, those instructions in our DNA are what create our traits. And traits are just the specific features we have. Just look around you. The variety's incredible, right? Take eye color. It's not just brown or blue. It's this whole amazing spectrum of colors and shades, and every single one is spelled out in our DNA. Okay, let's do a quick little check right now. Go ahead, reach up and feel your earlobe. Seriously, do it. Does it kind of hang down all free, or is it connected right to the side of your head? This super simple thing is a perfect example of a genetic trait.
So, if your earlobe is free, you're in the majority. That's what's called a dominant trait, which just means you only need the instruction for it from one of your parents. Attached earlobes are a bit less common. They're a recessive trait. And this little difference, free versus attached, is a perfect example of what scientists call variation.
And hey, this isn't just about looks. Variation is huge. It's absolutely crucial. These small differences within a species are like a diverse toolkit. They give the species options, allowing it to adapt when the environment changes. Ultimately, it's what allows life to survive. You could say variation is the raw material that fuels all of life's incredible diversity.
Okay, so we've got heredity, which passes traits down, and we've got variation, which mixes things up a little bit. Now, what happens when you let that process run, not just for a few generations, but for millions and millions of years?
Now, for some of you, depending on your curriculum, this is where the story might stop. But for others, we take the next logical step. We explore how all that variation, piling up over these huge stretches of time, becomes the driving force behind evolution.
But how exactly does evolution work? For a long time, this was a massive scientific puzzle. One of the first big ideas came from a guy named Lamarck. He thought that if an animal changed something during its life, like say it got really strong, it could pass that strength on. But then, of course, Charles Darwin came along with a groundbreaking idea. He said no, the variations are already there in the population. And nature, he said, simply selects the individuals who have the variations that are best for survival. This, of course, became his legendary theory of natural selection. And this right here is the classic textbook example for Lamarckism. You always see it, the giraffe. Lamarck's idea was that a giraffe's ancestors stretched their necks to get to higher leaves. And because they stretched, their necks got a little longer and they passed that acquired longer neck to their kids. It's a nice, simple idea, but we know now that's not how it works. Think about it. If you go to the gym and get huge muscles, your kids aren't born with them, right? Same principle.
Now, Darwin's theory was an absolute game changer, but it wasn't perfect. There was a big piece of the puzzle missing. See, he didn't know about DNA, so he couldn't explain how these variations pop up in the first place or how they were passed on. Science has since filled in a lot of those blanks, discovering things like genetic drift and mutations, but his main idea, natural selection, is still a fundamental cornerstone of biology today, no question.
So let's bring this massive story all the way home, to us. How does this epic theory of evolution apply to human beings? Let's do a super quick tour of our own family tree.
Okay, when you look at this timeline, you realize just how immense our evolutionary story is. It starts around 70 million years ago. That's 7 crore years, with these small lemur-like critters. Then you jump forward tens of millions of years, and you start seeing huge changes. Tails start to disappear. Apes emerge in Africa. And then, around 4 million years ago, or 40 lakh years, we see this really key moment with Australopithecus, an ancestor who started walking more upright. Every single point on this timeline represents millions of years of heredity and variation doing their thing, slowly shaping who we are.
So, there you have it. From why you have your dad's nose to the entire sprawling tree of life, it all boils down to these two incredibly powerful forces. Heredity is the faithful copy machine, passing down the instructions, and variation is the creative artist, introducing new possibilities. Our past is written in our DNA, that's for sure. So the big question is, what will variation write for our